Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our event today. We now know who the smartest people attending the event are. Thank you for coming here today. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. It's building solutions with the marketplace and third-party products. Hit the next slide. So the biggest problem that we look at is that most customers today don't want to be integrators, and most of the resellers don't want to be integrators. Hit the next slide. But the one thing that we constantly hear from Geotab customers is we want a single experience. We want everything to be in the Geotab portal. We want everything to be through the Drive app. We want a single experience for our user. We want it to be easy for the user to use this. We don't want them having to go to 4 or 5 different systems. Hit the next slide. Now, the marketplace is great, right? Everything is here. Everything is represented, the best-in-class technologies, tons of different technologies. But the problem is, what happens when customer says, hey, I need this piece, and I need this piece, and I need this piece? What do? Where do you go? How do you bring those pieces together? So today, we're going to have a panel discussion. I've brought together a bunch of people that I've worked with for a long time. When we go down to, let's hit the next slide real quick. Yep. And I'm going to introduce them now. So we have Venkat, we have Nick, and we have Chuck. And I'll give them some time to talk about, their products and their experience with doForms. But hit the next slide. I think you went one go back one, yeah. So, what we're going to talk about today is a product called doForms that basically the intention of doForms is to be a mobile solutions platform and to allow you to very rapidly build mobile solutions and very affordably to build mobile solutions. And that includes real-time dispatch, that includes things like barcode scanning and mobile printing, credit card payment, and a whole bunch of other technologies. And the basis of what we did with doForms is we don't try to consume other technologies. We don't hide it. We don't take a product from, let's say, Chuck or Venkat and try to integrate it into our solution and then hide the fact that they exist. We celebrate our partnership. So we basically say, listen, if you want to build a solution on doForms, but you want to add AI vehicle inspection, go ahead and grab product from Venkat, and we support it, integrate it into doForms. So you could see the inspection data in your back-end portal as part of the experience for that user. So when you see doForms, if you come down to our booth, you'll be able to see a live demonstration of what we can do. We're totally integrated into the Drive app. We're totally integrated into the portal, and we're literally a solution builder where we can build solutions in minutes, hours, days, and we've proven that multiple times now. We have a very successful run with Geotab customers, and just come down and we'll show you how to integrate and build solutions on the doForms platform very quickly. And our model is we'll build you the first one for free, try it, use it, love it, experience it. You want more, you come back and we'll help you build applications really quickly. Jump down to the next slide. So, very quickly, AI inspection. Venkat, just grab the mic there. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Venkat. I'm the founder and CEO at ClearQuote. The problem that we're working on is commercial fleets tend to get damaged. They get used by different drivers. So it's a fairly manual process to track who's caused what damage. And with our solution, drivers scan the vehicle each time they get the vehicle. We process these images to identify where's the damage on the vehicle, and we also let the fleet manager know if there's new damage. Without having to physically inspect the vehicle, they get to know who's caused what damage. 2 benefits. One is drivers tend to treat the vehicles more carefully, so actual damage goes down. And second is this savings and admin effort in viewing the inspections. That's what we do.
So great technology, but if you want to build a rental return system and you want to incorporate AI inspection, or you want to do some kind of lease return and you want to incorporate AI inspection, you may need a system to go with that. So we approached Venkat by virtue of a customer who came to us and said, hey, I love doForms, but I also saw this technology I think is slick as hell. I want to incorporate it. We have 800 trucks in our fleet. We don't have time to look at all the pictures that everybody's taking of their vehicles. We need the system to tell us if there's any damage. So they asked us if we could bring those 2 products together, and yeah, sure enough, we built the solution, and we incorporated in ClearQuote's technology. And that was basically versed on, we can hand them a vehicle that we get from the Drive app. So the person logs into the Drive app, identifies their vehicle. doForms is able to capture that vehicle ID. We're able to call ClearQuote, pass them the vehicle ID. They do the inspection. They pass us back the result with a URL. We then put the URL into our back-end portal that's in the Geotab portal, click on that, and it brings up the inspection results of your AI inspection. So completely integrated into the product, was based on just being able to pass vehicle ID back and forth, and we have an integrated solution. Hit the next slide. So one of the third parties that we do a lot of work with is mobile printing. For years, I was in the mobile forms business. I thought my job was to eliminate paper. And then I realized there's still a huge need for paper out there. Customers need receipts. There's all kinds of different demand for paper out there. So we started partnering with Brother. And Nick, who I've been doing business with for a long time, I will tell you, greatest partner in the world. If you come to me and say, I have a printer responsibility, I need to do something, Nick, I could call up Nick and say, send those people a printer, they want to try it, and the next day they'll have a printer and paper and everything that they need. They're the easiest partner to do business with. They support every opportunity we have tremendously. So Nick, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Nick. I work in the thermal printing side of the Brother organization. People always ask me, what do you do? And I always tell them I deliver a lot of beer, a lot of oil, and I write a lot of speeding tickets. And once they think through that, then I can tell them, you know, I've got 2 million printers out in various vehicles doing various things. And the dirty little secret is that most applications don't natively print. And so when we need to generate a ticket, a document, a bill of lading, or inspection report, or hours of service log, I can always go to John and say, can you interface with the system of record and get that data formatted and printed? And that's what it does. It provides the solution.
Yeah, so one of the things, if you take a printer out of the box and you have an IT team, you get that IT team and they build a Bluetooth interface to that printer, and then they use ZPL language to format what the print job has to look like, and 6 months later you have a printing application. Well, if you look on the fourth image there, Brother has an editor where you could literally in about 3 minutes go in and design any label you want, any kind of receipt, anything. And we read that template right into doForms. We handle all of the Bluetooth technology. So literally in about 5 minutes, you can create a custom barcode label or a receipt or anything that you want. And we support their full-page printer. We support label printing. We support long receipts. So anything that would require printing now, we can very easily add that technology with doForms. So if you need a barcode scanner with a label printer, no problem. Barcode scanners are integrated, label printers are integrated, and you just have to tell us what your functionality is. Hit the next slide. So we had another customer come to us, and they basically said, hey, we have a scenario where our driver is going to pick up cars from people's homes and drive them to a maintenance facility to get repaired and then drive them back. And they need a dash cam that's based on their phone because they want to be able to just jump in that car, put their dash cam up on the dashboard, drive around and come back and pull it off. And they identified Chuck's company here, Driver, and we got together and same deal. I said to Chuck, if I hand you a vehicle ID, can you pass me back all the video for that vehicle? And he said, absolutely, no problem. We said, great, we'll add a tile into our dashboard, and anytime they click on a vehicle, now not only will we have the tracks from Geotab and all the other revenue that person generated and all the doForms information, but we'll also be able to show them their video in a tile in that same dashboard. So Chuck, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, John. Chuck Harper, Director of Partnerships with Driver. You did a great job of explaining the product. It's kind of the same idea of what Google Maps did to Garmin, is like we're saying, do you really need the hardware? Obviously, there's 19 hardware dashcam companies here, so the answer a lot of times is yes. But there's always a lot of other applications where it's either I'm switching from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle. Oh, I'm doing a delivery. I'm going to drive this vehicle once, but only for 500 miles, right? Or only once, but for a total of 500 miles. I want to have a dash cam. Or someone that says, hey, I already have this phone that's so integral to what I do on a daily basis, whether I'm an Uber driver or a bridge inspector or something like that, where I can have something in doForms where it tells me, hey, I've just started to drive. That tells us, start recording. Phone is mounted. collect all the video, also provide safety alerts and scoring, and then at the end say, oh, now I know because I got somewhere and I'm getting ready to print out a label or do another inspection, I know the trip has ended, therein by passing the information to us to stop recording at that moment, sync everything to the cloud. The other thing that's nice about mobile is that these devices are very used to sending gigabytes of data over cellular and Wi-Fi, so we like to say that we're just riding on the rails of what Netflix and Hulu have already built.
Very good. Thanks, Chuck. All right, so I'm going to open. I have a ton of questions for these guys, and I can drive the panel, or you guys can drive the panel. So does anybody have a question for anybody at this point? And feel free to say it, speak up. We'll be more than happy. And that's actually a great comment, and that's the reason that doForms doesn't sell dash cams, because we can't be experts in everything. So, we depend on the partners that we're putting into our infrastructure to be able to say, hey, you're responsible for that. We're just an enabler. So we're enabling your technology to be incorporated into our portal to give that customer one view of, what they want to see. But, like we do electronic payment, we're not sitting there and saying we're PCI compliant. We pass our control and our information to the credit card company. They process the credit card. They hand it back to us. So it's a great comment, and that's why we want to pick best-in-class technologies and let those partners use their level of expertise, not ours. And that's why we don't consume product. Too many companies want to say, I have everything under the sun. It's all in my product. I'm going to charge you this one price, and it's all there. But then they never could sell it well. They never can support it well because that's not their product. It's not their level of expertise, and it winds up, kind of falling short in the sale. So we'd rather, if you bring a customer to doForms and you want to bring in those other people, we will bring these people or whoever else we partner with to the table so that they can have that conversation with you. Any other questions? Nope. So I'm going to start asking the questions. So, Nick, when we first met, you brought me into a medical facility, I guess V&A HG, right? And their biggest problem was they were with one of the largest home healthcare solution providers in the software, but they had no ability to print, and the customer basically was at a loss, right? And you kind of brought me in as a Hail Mary that day to go into that account.
Yeah, the challenge we run into actually quite frequently is there are either regulatory issues or just workflow issues that require some sort of a documentation, right? We'd like to think everything can be digital, but there are some things, hospice and home care, for example. And again, the system of records oftentimes are either proprietary or you need to be HIPAA compliant or you have some other challenge that at the end of the day, you want to be able to generate a document that takes the capability to reach in and do that. And in that particular case, that was the big challenge, right? They wanted to print it out. Those of us that have elderly parents who take care or need this, you want to be able to see that documentation, but integration's a challenge.
This was a DNR form for one of the largest hospitals in New Jersey, and it was the Visiting Nurse Association for New Jersey, and they needed to be able to do a DNR form. They needed to be able to send it securely over the air in real time to a doctor who had to sign it in order for it to be legal, and then it had to come back in real time to the caregiver in the room where they had to be able to print a full-page version of it to hand to the family, tape to the bed, and then the data went up to the cloud, so if they needed to know if there was a DNR, they would basically be able to call the cloud very quickly. And we were able to deliver that in probably about a week's worth of time. And effectively, I think they bought 800 printers on that deal. So, very, very nice opportunity. One of the things you should know, in addition to us being able to support credit cards and all that good stuff, we're also totally HIPAA compliant. So if you have to deliver medical supplies or anything like that, or non-emergent ambulance, pickup and delivery, we can do all that stuff and give you all the HIPAA compliance that you need. So Venkat, I'm going to ask you a question, basically. I find your technology fascinating, and I kind of always describe it as he takes a drawing of what looks like, a kid drawing a picture of a truck, and he takes part of it, and as long as you fit your truck in that picture and it fits inside it, it snaps a picture, and then a couple of minutes later, a couple of seconds later, it tells you, hey, there's dents in the truck, there's a new sticker, there's paint chips, and I find that fascinating. I find the uses of it for rental return and lease return and large fleets. Can you tell us, some of the good things about the technology? Is it totally ready yet? Are you able to do any size fleet? Are you able, or do you have a problem with, let's say, if a fleet has like 20 different vehicles? Tell us, is it something these people can absorb today and take advantage of today? Because AI is relatively new and everybody wants to know how to use it.
Sure. So we started with passenger vehicles, and then right now we do passenger vehicles, light commercial, which is vans and pickups. We've also started working with heavy commercial trucks, so tractor units, as well as trailers. And recently we started cargo bikes because that's in Europe, UK and Europe, that's a growing segment. So as we get new types of vehicles, we're able to add, earlier it used to take 6 months to get an AI model trained for new vehicle types, but now it's weeks. So we can add more vehicle types as we see in the market.
So if somebody in the room has a fleet of, box trucks and pickup trucks and some trailers and stuff like that, can they come to you, or is it better suited if they have like 100 of the same vehicle?
I mean, for us, it doesn't really make a difference if they have different types of vehicles, because we've got different AI models handling each of these different vehicle types. There's always going to be one odd case where there would be a vehicle which has let's say a crane on it, which is not seen by our AI model, but we will eventually train that as well. So we would handle, most cases we've handled 90+% of the fleet.
Is this something that a company can try? Like, is it a large setup time, or is it something where you say, hey, I'll set you up and you can try it tomorrow, take pictures of your truck for a week?
That's effectively, not just trial, but even customers who go live, it's like a half a day of setting up time, and they can start across their fleet, hundreds of vehicles within a day.
Yeah, I feel bad for Venkat because his car's all dented up. Every time he does a demo, he has to redent his car. So Chuck, a little bit, about the camera-based, dash cam. So you sent me a mount that had like a fan built into it, and people are able to use their phone. Is the phone powerful enough? I know we had a conversation about Apple giving you access to background tasking and stuff, which really makes this technology viable now. Can you talk a little bit more about, how you could turn that phone into truly a dash cam?
So two answers to that. One is, the app it's in app stores in 180 countries and territories. We've had drives in 180 countries and territories. We've had over 1 million downloads worldwide. Not all of those people have gotten mounts from us, right? That's like absolutely not the case. However, we do manufacture our own mount and do it with the idea that if you're going to use this product like an over-the-road trucker and drive for 12 hours, or I've seen ones with tandem driving where the trip ends up getting up to 20 hours, right? And I should make the point that we upload all the video to the cloud. We're not just doing like blips around events, right? Just because of the way that the cellular lines allow us to ship data to the cloud, we do that. So all the data gets up there. It's a lot of usage. You wouldn't even want to run a phone that's just using navigation and Spotify for 20 hours in the Arizona sun, in the middle of August. So because of that, we have a not required but optional to use mount that we market. Right, that's available on Amazon. It's marketed to you. 20 companies here are going to
tell you you're not a real product. Like, you have to have a hardware dash-mounted camera, right? They're all going to make that claim. How do you defend against that? Like, how is your product? How do you say we're just as good? We have the phone's even a better.
I would just point to the fact that we've probably sold 5,000 mounts and have 1 million downloads. So it's just like the answer is more in the fact that it's not required. It's just an option for someone that wants to use it.
So the proof's in the pudding. It's working. It's out
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Right.
Now to your second question, I'm glad you brought that up. So, we have the app is on both app stores. It's on Android and iOS. One of the hurdles that was on iOS is that you cannot record video in an app that's not the forward-facing app, meaning like what you see on the actual screen. So we would have this product, and then say an Uber driver would download it and then realize, oh, I want to go over to the Uber app, but wait, I'm not recording video anymore. So that was obviously like a deal breaker in a lot of relationships. We petitioned Apple for several years and said, hey, can you give us the camera entitlement that right now only FaceTime and Zoom and 1 or 2 other video conferencing apps have? And that was granted in Q4 of last year, which now allows you to navigate away and you just get the little picture-in-picture, like a 1 inch by 1 inch thing that shows you that the camera's still running while recording, while going to, say, Google Maps, but also I know in the Geotab world, there's people that use like route optimization apps that someone wants to be looking at, where it's table stakes that you need to be able to view that. Like, oh, I've had this conversation with resellers, right? Like, hey, if I need to go to your app and leave this one, we just can't do that. So what we've seen is now that we have this, even just our organic user base that downloads the app through the App Store, the success is like 10x. And I'm really excited in a lot of the opportunities I've talked about so far, even this week, with folks that I had talked to when we were at Connect in 2023, where I give them that knowledge and they say, oh, yeah, I really want to revisit a relationship with you guys because the main thing was I have to use this app that routes my guy from point A to point B, whether it's Google Maps or something custom.
So the good news is you could have doForms up in your screen now, and you could have your dash cam working
Absolutely.
at the same time. So it's a completely great experience for your user. It's time. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Please come
everybody.
down to our booth, and we'd love to show you all this stuff. So.